so you mentioned you're a gamer, and you started thinking about the interoperability and composability of NFTs and how they really lead to working well with games. But why did you want to
Mhm.
work at the intersection of Web3 and gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play. I was a heavy gamer of RuneScape. I played a lot of RuneScape back in the day, and one of the big things I noticed back then is that there was a lot of demand for people buying the in-game currency on like third party marketplaces, right? And it wasn't really considered quote unquote legal. Like you would get banned if you were caught buying these items or buying even characters that are fully leveled up and all that. And it just with Web3, it just makes so much sense that all these items are actually tokenized and people could actually have ownership over them and easily trade them if they want to, without really having to go through the hurdles of going through a third party and facing potential bans and all that. So that idea to me was like what really excited me about the space, having all these digital items. You actually have true ownership over them over the blockchain as tokenized items that you could trade very easily on like OpenSea or other marketplaces. So that was something that was very exciting. And another thing is, with Web3, there's always, I think, the most important part of Web3 is the community itself. So you have a community that you're building the game around, and you're taking all these feedback and suggestions of the community and implementing them in the game. So it feels, it feels more wholesome. Like everyone's really working together to make something and a full product. So yeah, I think really that's why I wanted to get into the space and what attracted me to the space.
Yeah, I wrote a Twitter thread on Web3 gaming, and I did some research on RuneScape actually. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can still go on eBay today and buy RuneScape gold for like US dollars. And I then even found an article from the Economist. And back in 2009 in Venezuela, people were
Hmm.
using RuneScape gold instead of the local currency because of how volatile the bolivar was. So it's pretty crazy
Wow.
that like that idea of in-game currencies, especially with RuneScape specifically, we started to see the foundations that a lot of people like you are thinking about in gaming by adding your own token on top of it, and so cool to see the developments over the years.
Yeah,
And
that's really interesting. And honestly, it's I think RuneScape is really a very good example of a game that if you just put on the blockchain would be so successful because it had the in-game economy, it had the complexity behind that, it had the fun factor, the demand, the supply. Like if you were just able to tokenize all these in-game assets, that would be, in my opinion, one of the best like Web3 games right now, right? So. Uh, it's really awesome to see, and it's crazy that the people are still buying and selling RuneScape Gold on eBay, and that just tells you how that there's massive demand for these things, and if you just make it easier for the consumer or the player to go through these processes, the demand is there.
Yeah, and if I could also chime in on that question, the fact that like coming from I'm the technical, more of the technical guy here, and coming in from like how game studios build games and how things work, aside from the fact that things are tokenized, you had these team of game designers, developers, and actual 3D artists sit together in a room. They just brainstorm, come up with ideas. Like now I feel like this room is Discord. Like everyone is giving out ideas. Sometimes we scrap features, rewrite them in different ways because of how the community said they wanted something or felt this should work. It's just so nice to see, and it just helps you build a much better product for the community because they know what they're expecting and we know what they want, and we're working incrementally together. So we're just not developing something that we're not sure if the community is gonna like. Because as we're working on it, we're getting feedback and we're improving and hopefully trying to adhere to most of the community. So yeah, that's really nice to see in terms of the development part of the actual project.
yeah, I feel like I don't know too much about game development, but I would imagine that with some of these Web3 games and NFT games we're seeing, and BYOPills really being a good example of this, is how many games have been built with that community feedback from the beginning versus the traditional way was probably always a team builds a game over a series of years and then just releases it. And that's the first, once it's released, is the first time you get that feedback. But you all have been getting feedback along the
Exactly.
way ever since your first
Exactly.
NFT drop. You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the Metaverse.